On the outside, they looked like the picture-perfect American family, like the picture of the American dream, a loving husband, a beautiful wife, 2 sweet little girls, and another child on the way. Chris Watts, his wife Shannan, and their 2 beautiful daughters, Bella and Celeste, lived in a quiet Colorado suburb. To neighbors, they were the image of happiness, seemed to have it all. Their daughters, Bella and Celeste, were their pride and joy. Shannan was also pregnant with their 3rd child, a boy they planned to name Nico. Their happiness seemed full. Smiling family photos, birthday parties, a cozy home in a safe neighborhood. But behind the smiles, something darker was brewing. A storm hidden beneath the surface. One that would end in betrayal and murder. A secret no one saw coming. A nightmare the world will never forget. Shannan Watts was a devoted wife and mother. She shared her life online, her joy, her struggles, her love for her family, every smile, every milestone. Friends described her as full of energy, passionate, and fiercely protective of her children. To her friends, Chris was the quiet but caring husband. But in the shadows, Chris was pulling away, hiding secrets. Many nights, Chris would sit alone in the kitchen, the glow of the dim light casting long shadows on his troubled face, his mind a storm of thoughts. He stared into the darkness, distant, detached, as if the weight of his secrets pressed heavier than the silence around him. On the night of August 12, 2018, Shannan returned home from a business trip. Security cameras captured her walking into the house at 2 a.m., suitcase in hand, exhausted, unaware of the horror waiting inside. She had no idea that within hours, her life and the lives of her children would be stolen by the very person she trusted most. As she stepped inside, the house was unsettlingly silent. Her husband, Chris, was nowhere to be found. She dialed his number again and again, sending message after message, but there was no reply. Each ring deepened her unease. Each silence fed her fear that something was terribly wrong. Exhausted after searching and calling into the night, she eventually drifted into an uneasy sleep. That was the last time she was ever seen alive. The next day, Shannan missed a doctor's appointment. She didn't answer calls. Friends grew worried. And by evening, the alarm bells had started to ring. Friends panicked. Police arrived at the Watts home to conduct a welfare check. They found Shannan's purse, phone, and keys still inside, but no sign of Shannan, Bella, or Celeste. The home felt too quiet, too staged. The children's rooms were untouched, toys scattered as if frozen in time. Outside, cameras caught the growing presence of police cars, reporters, and worried neighbors. The case was no longer private. The entire community was now watching. Police searched, neighbors prayed, and Chris went on television, begging for his wife and daughters to return home. But his words felt hollow, cold, rehearsed, empty. His eyes lacked the fear of a desperate father. Instead, they carried the weight of someone hiding the truth. Investigators noticed. His body language was wrong. His story kept changing. Behind the scenes, detectives began to suspect what no one wanted to believe, that Chris himself knew more than he was saying. Chris was brought in for questioning. At first, he remained calm, insisting he had no idea where Shannan and the kids had gone. But under the harsh light of the interrogation room, cracks began to show. His hands fidgeted. His answers stalled. Then came the polygraph test. When asked if he harmed Shannan or his daughters, the machine told the truth that his words could not. Chris Watts had failed. His mask slipped. Detectives saw through his lies. His story cracked. Chris Watts wasn't a grieving husband. He was a killer. Chris admitted to strangling Shannan, then smothering his 2 little girls. He loaded their bodies into his truck, driving them to an oil site where he buried his wife and hid his daughters in oil tanks. The revelation shattered even the most hardened detectives. The horror was almost too much to comprehend. A father destroying the very family he was meant to protect. The search turned into recovery, and the nightmare became reality. Chris Watts was arrested and charged with multiple counts of first-degree murder. His trial drew national attention. Courtrooms were packed, news outlets swarmed, and millions followed every development. Prosecutors painted the picture of a man living a double life, one who wanted freedom from his responsibilities, and who saw his family not as blessings, but as obstacles. The public's anger grew with each detail revealed. Justice was closing in. In November 2018, Chris Watts stood before a judge to hear his fate, pleaded guilty to 5 counts of murder. He was sentenced to 5 life terms without the possibility of parole. There would be no second chance, no escape. His new home was a prison cell, where time would stretch endlessly, a reminder of the lives he had stolen. The sound of the cell door closing was the final punctuation to his freedom, forever. But no punishment could erase the horror or heal the pain. In the aftermath, the world grieved Shannan, Bella, and Celeste. Candlelight vigils lit up the Colorado nights. Strangers left flowers and toys on the Watts lawn, and a community mourned lives lost too soon. But the story of the Watts family is more than just a crime. It is a chilling reminder of betrayal, of broken trust, of the darkness that can hide behind the brightest smiles. Their memory now lives on, not in the shadow of Chris's crimes, but in the love they brought to those around them. And so, the world will not forget Shannan, Bella, and Celeste. Not today, not ever. Shannan, Bella, Celeste, Nico, their lives stolen by the very man meant to protect them. Evil doesn't always look like a monster. Sometimes it looks like the man next door. And even now, years later, the silence of what was lost echoes louder than words. This was more than a crime. It was the erasing of an entire future. Shannan, Bella, Celeste, Nico. Rest in peace. Gone but never forgotten. Stories like these remind us how fragile life is and how quickly trust can be shattered. If this case moved you, consider subscribing to this channel for more untold stories that deserve to be heard. Your support helps keep their memories alive. Shannan, Bella, Celeste, and baby Nico, may they never be forgotten.